Now at 10, we'll hear from a 13-year-old girl about what it takes to compete with a horse. Plus, the Midwest is under a severe drought. We'll take a look at how it's impacting farmers.
Deadly, sweeping away members of a family on their way to a barbecue. I'm Wendy Gillette with more on what happened.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Amber Jenkins. The Southwest Missouri Reining Horse Association partnered with the Lucky Jade Steakhouse and Arena as dozens of horses and riders took the stage. KOAM Anthony Saviello has an inside look into what it takes to compete.
While everyone has heard of the rodeo, with the tough bull-riding cowboys and the majestic barrel racers, you may not realize what else these cowboys and girls are capable of. How long have you been doing this?
Basically my whole life, but I started showing about a year and a half ago.
Okay. And you're how old now?
13.
13. You've been doing this since you were 11 and a half years old?
Yeah.
Jaden Ingram is one of the competitors this year, but isn't alone, because by her side is a trusted friend by the name of Meatball.
I've had her for a year and a half, but she's 13.
Okay, but she's been with you since you've been showing.
Yeah.
A bond that must remain strong so that both Meatball and Jaden can put their best foot, or should I say hoof, forward.
You would need a good owner to take care of it and, be able to have that time. But for the horse, they need to be able to, they're going to need to want to do it, And it's hard in animals, but they're willing.
Willing and ready to show off and have fun. Reporting in Carthage, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Be sure to look out for more events coming to the Lucky J Arena on their website. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for the first look at weather.
It was a pretty hot day to be out riding, so it's a good thing they're indoors for a lot of those activities. We do have some storms on radar, mainly out towards the west of I-35. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for that area for just a little bit longer. Some warnings still going on there west of Wichita. Nothing in our area. We're expecting mostly fair conditions tonight, dropping through the 70s, all the way down to around 69 degrees by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, the UV index is going to be on the high scale. In fact, very high tomorrow, 9. Which means about 15 to 20 minutes, so make sure you're taking the precautions if you're going to be outdoors. Looking down the lane, we do have some scattered thunderstorms in our forecast. Also, the summer heat dome returns, and then we'll be following that with more scattered storms late in the week towards next weekend with some near normal temperatures. That'll feel nice. Of course, I'll have all the details on that just in a little bit.
Ranchers and farmers in the Midwest are awaiting possible aid as the region battles through one of its worst droughts. U.S. senators from Missouri have called on the Department of Agriculture to look into opening Conservation Reserve Program land for emergency haying. Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullins says the region's conditions resemble the drought from the Dust Bowl in the 1920s to 30s. Mullins says the current hay yield is about 25% of what it should be, which could start affecting prices for cattle and for other food as well. High heat is once again affecting tens of millions of Americans. Severe weather also brought flooding to the Northeast. In at least one case, it was fatal. In eastern Pennsylvania, 5 people were killed and 2 young siblings are still missing. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette reports from New York.
A flash flood turned deadly, sweeping as much as 5 feet deep waters onto a road near a stream in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, Saturday evening. A family from Charleston, South Carolina, on the way to a barbecue, was caught in the water.
Mass casualty incident like these, which we have never seen before, unbelievable, devastating to all the families involved. We are all grieving.
Heavy rain and flooding forced this road to buckle in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. In Elmsford, New York, Sunday, high water stopped this car in its tracks, and it was a similar scene in Waterbury, Connecticut. In Austin, Texas, many jumped in the water, trying to escape temperatures hitting 105 degrees. But doctors warn just taking a dip isn't enough when it's that hot.
Don't assume that being in a pool is cooling you off enough. You have to drink the right amount of fluid.
Heat warnings extend from Miami to Mesa, Arizona to Sacramento, where pet owners are watching out for their 4-legged friends.
When you're unsure if it's too hot to walk your dog, we like to recommend touching the ground, the asphalt, with the back of your hand. If it's too hot for the back of your hand, it's definitely too hot for your pet's paws.
Contact burns are also a danger for children as the heat causes surface temperatures to spike.
As hot as a frying pan. Temperatures between 140 and 160, which would be just a couple of seconds, will cause deep injuries to a small hand.
The air alone in Death Valley National Park in California is hot enough to fry your skin.
I never experienced this kind of heat. No, it's really hot.
According to the National Weather Service, more than 100 million people, nearly a third of all Americans, are under heat alerts. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
There were multiple ground stops today at airports in the Northeast because of thunderstorms. According to FlightWare, there were more than 2,000 cancellations in the U.S. and over 6,000 delays. Concern is growing for people's health in Europe as the extreme temperatures come at the height of the summer tourist season. Heat is known as the silent killer, and it already claimed at least one life in northern Italy. In Greece, authorities closed down the famed ancient citadel in the middle of the day because of the heat. Temperatures there this weekend could reach 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Coming up, new details have been released about the suspected New York serial killer. We'll take a look. Plus, 4 people are dead after a mass shooting in Georgia. We have the details. A suspected serial killer has been charged in New York, Long Island, in connection with a string of killings that started more than a decade ago. Bradley Blackburn has more on the suspect and how police say they found him.
Rex, did you do it? 59-year-old Rex Hewerman was escorted by police Friday, an imposing Manhattan architect and married father who is now an accused serial killer.
Rex Hewerman is a demon that walks among us.
He is charged with murdering 3 women and is the prime suspect in the death of another victim, all sex workers whose bodies were found wrapped in burlap near the ocean. They were first discovered in 2010. Hewerman was arrested outside his New York City office, where police were seen removing at least 4 computers. And outside his home in Massapequa, across the bay from where the victims were found, people who know him expressed shock.
Very quiet, dark, kept to himself, and extremely intelligent.
The search has gone on for years until police tied him to a pickup truck seen when one of the victims disappeared. Investigators say they recovered Hewerman's DNA from a pizza crust he threw away in New York City and matched it to hair found with the victims' bodies. They say he was also linked to burner phones used to arrange meetings.
We're continuing to execute search warrants, and we anticipate getting more evidence.
In all, police have recovered the remains of 11 people near Gilgo Beach. Family members have waited for answers.
I'm grateful that today is happening, and I'm hopeful for the future.
Hewerman pleaded not guilty at his arraignment. He will be held without bond and is scheduled back in court August 1st. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Authorities are gathering digital evidence as well. They say Hewerman searched Google more than 200 times in 14 months for information about the investigation. They say he also searched for photos of the victims. 4 people are dead after a mass shooting in Hampton, Georgia. Authorities say it happened around 10:45 Saturday morning at several different locations. 3 men and 1 woman were killed. Authorities are now identifying the suspect. Police are offering a $10,000 reward for information that leads to Longsmore's capture. Police say they have not determined a motive for the shooting yet. A little later, the Midwest Mustangs play together in a final tournament of the season against the 4-1-7 Mets. Brock Brawlwood will have that and more in sports.
Plus, we have storm chances in our forecast as well as lots of heat to go around. I'll tell you all about that when we come back. Well, it was another warm one across the 4 states. Of course, that's typical for July, and it's only going to get warmer as we go through the forecast. But first, let's enjoy this evening. And let's start out this morning at Seneca, Missouri with Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. As we go through the day, you can see mostly fair skies. The sun came out, lots of blue skies, and that allowed temperatures to warm up pretty nicely. Then in the afternoon, we started to have some Clouds developing off towards the west, and that was from those thunderstorms blowing off from those cumulonimbus clouds, and now we're left with mostly fair conditions. We made it up to 95 today in Joplin, starting out at 69, which of course overall made us above normal. We're way below normal on rainfall, of course, about 10 inches, and it's only getting worse each and every single day that we do not have rainfall. Right now, we're looking at a storm watch out towards the west of I-35 in southwest Kansas. That goes until midnight. You can see one severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for parts of south central Kansas. Instead, in our area, it's mostly fair, with temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees, some lower 80s down to the south like in Neosho and in Anderson with 83, 79 in Monette, and 76 cooler degrees for our friends up in Stockton. Dew points, though, they're on the increase, and that means the muggies are coming back. 74 dew point right now in Commerce, and same thing in Grove and Jay. So the moisture is deepening and advancing towards the north. And that means when you factor in the temperature and the dew point, it's going to feel much more warmer out there. And starting tomorrow, we're going to see readings in the mid 90s, upper 90s, especially up towards the north and east with more sunshine, around 100 in Nevada, a little bit cooler out towards the west. But then as we go into Tuesday, everyone's going to get above 100, or at least that's what it's going to feel like out there. 111 in Fort Scott, are you kidding me? 110 in Chanute, same thing in Sedan, as well, 109 in Sedan, same thing there in Yates Center. So it's going to be a toasty one. And then on Wednesday, same thing. Temperatures still feeling like above 100 across most of the area, upper 80s and 90s up to the north behind a cold front. That's going to help us out a little bit as we go towards the latter part of the week. Until then, rain chances are going to remain on the low side. Now tomorrow we could see some scattered showers and storms developing across our area. Rainfall amounts are expected to be light for the most part. Some areas could pick up an inch or so. That would certainly help with the drought. One of the models is saying not so much. It's going to be a little bit more drier than the other models are saying. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But hopefully we'll get some rain in the rain bucket. In the meantime, we have the ridge of high pressure off towards the west. That's going to move towards us on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's why temperatures are going to go up and rain chances go down. But then as that retreats back to the west on Thursday, the rain chances start to come back in and some cooler air starts to come in from the north. Temperatures tonight are going to be in the 60s and 70s with scattered storms around, especially out towards the west. Then tomorrow, you can see the scattered thunderstorms developing with highs in the 90s. And then as we go into Tuesday, showers mainly up towards the north. And then Tuesday evening, we could see some isolated storms developing again, mainly to the east with highs around 100. And then as we go into Wednesday, here comes our relief cold front from the north with temperatures in the 70s. And over the next 7 days, we do see the chance of storms coming back into our forecast. After tomorrow, we have to wait till Thursday and Friday, but we have to get through 101 and 100 on Tuesday and Wednesday first, and then cooler as we head towards next weekend, but at least it'll be closer to normal.
Well, like you said, if we can just get through Tuesday and
That's
Wednesday,
right.
smooth sailing.
That's right.
Thank you. About 10,000 baby boomers reach the retirement age of 65 every day in the U.S. Now, a growing number of younger Americans don't want to wait and are thinking differently about retirement. CBS Evan Carvers has tips on making your money last.
Look at how windy it is.
Yeah, Rob and Allie Marmion spend their days traveling the world.
I think it's great just to be able to eat ramen in Japan and eat spaghetti in Italy.
It's like a nonstop vacation that began after their kids left home and they realized they did not save enough to retire comfortably in the U.S.
Rob probably is the one that came up with the crazy idea to sell everything.
You said sell everything, and you mean everything.
We sold not just our home, everything that was inside of it, our cars.
You can see the top. They invested the money, and now at ages 49 and 50, they live off the earnings and some occasional remote work.
What you learn growing up is you retire when you're 65 and you sit around and play golf. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that.
What does retirement mean?
Ramit Sethi is host of the Netflix show How to Get Rich, where he teaches people to plan their finances to align with their goals, whatever they are.
You have to know how much money you need to be able to survive and thrive. Okay, most of us don't know these numbers. My wife and I sat down and we did a 10-year bucket list together. There were some things, like, oh, skydiving, have fun, I'll be at the bottom waiting for you. And then we found a couple of things that we really want to do together. So we honed in on those and we said, how much is it going to cost?
When the Marmions lived near Atlanta, their monthly bills were about $8,000. But when they did the math, they discovered they could travel the world for about $4,000 a month.
We're in Asia right now. You can rent a luxury apartment on the beach for about $1,200 a month.
After taking stock of your take-home pay, Sati recommends setting aside 50 to 60% for your monthly bills. 5 to 10% goes to savings, another 5 to 10% for long-term, low-cost investments, and up to 35% for guilt-free spending.
Eating out, massages, vacation, whatever it is that you love, you could do it guilt-free once all your other numbers are taken care of. Your rich life should fit you like a handmade glove.
And you can start that now.
You don't have to wait. You could start it today after watching this. Sit down and write down what would be your dream week. That's the beginning of your rich life.
Still ahead, the Royals and the Cardinals both had home games earlier today. And some of the top baseball players in Kansas and Missouri play in their final tournament together. We have the highlights next in sports.
The Midwest Mustangs are a baseball team full of some of the best high school players in Southwest Missouri and the Southeast Kansas area. These guys are playing their final tournament together before they all go their separate ways into college, and they want to make sure they make the most of it to count at the end. Rise and shine, the Mustangs take the field at 9 a.m. this morning going against the 417 Mets. We pick things up in the bottom of the second inning, no score. Girard's Alex Custer hammers this ball into the gap. It falls down for a hit. Cole Ungehauer's speed will score easily. Custer turns it into an RBI triple, 1-0 Mustangs. On the mound today is Webb City's Kaylor Darnell, who gets the hitter looking there in the third. Then in the fourth, a swing and a miss. And once again in the fifth, Darnell gets the hitter caught looking. Darnell pitches 5 innings, only giving up 2 earned runs. Bottom of the fifth now, 3-2 Mustangs. Webb City's Sean Hunt provides a little insurance here. That ball is belted and rolls up onto the hill. 2 runs will score. It's a 2-run double. Mustangs go on to win this game 6-3, and they also went on to win the next game 10-2 to win the tournament, as this group of players has finished up in their last game altogether on a high note.
So, I was going into the tournament, kind of got some bad luck with it, hit the ball hard, just right at people. So today, first 2 at-bats, got kind of rough luck, but coming in that last at-bat, I knew I needed to do a job and got it done with a double. So it's been amazing. Kaylor Sidewalker, I've spent a whole spring with him and everything. Coach Myers has been great for me, getting me looks and stuff. Been a great team, great relationship with these guys, obviously, and looks to keep it rolling.
The bad news for the Nevada Griffins is they're tied for last place in the Mink League South. The good news is they're still only a few games behind first place. The Griffins have not played a full game since Thursday, as Nevada is in and out of their final road games this season. In Game 1 of the doubleheader, the Griffins fought really hard. However, they were 1 run short. Chillicothe's pitching holds on for the final 2 innings. The Mudcats come out victorious by beating Nevada 5-4. So then in Game 2 of the doubleheader, the Griffins lose in heartbreaker. So Nevada was down 4-1 at one point, and the Griffins come all the way back to regain the lead, but Chillicothe walks it off to beat Nevada 6-5. However, Ryan Davis goes 2 for 4 with a triple and 4 RBIs. The Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals are each hosting Sunday afternoon home games. The Royals look to avoid the sweep against Tampa, as the Cardinals look to win the series over Washington. Cardinals versus Nationals in the bottom of the fifth, 3-1 Redbirds. Nolan Gorman swinging the drive. Goodbye baseball. Solo home run. Cards lead 4-1. Top of the sixth now. Same score. Dominic Smith to center field, and Lars Nootbaar almost makes an amazing catch. 2 runs will score on the double. The Cardinals still lead 4-3. Bottom of the sixth now. Same score. Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie, get the tape measure out. Look where this ball lands. Way up on the berm into center field. 2-run shot. Cardinals beat the Nationals 8-4 as St. Louis wins the series. Royals versus Rays in Kauffman Stadium. Bottom of the second. 3-0 Kansas City. Bobby Witt Jr. has had the distance. Not quite, but 2 runs are going to come in the score. Bobby Witt Jr. turns it into a 2-run triple. 5-0 Royals. Bottom of the fourth now, same score. Drew Waters, turn and burn. And that ball's going to take a drink in the fountains. Look where this one lands. Splash. Solo home run. 6-0 Royals. We head to the bottom of the 5th now. Same score. Bobby Witt Jr. gets the ball over the fence this time. What a shot. Solo home run. 15th of the season for Witt Jr. So we'll head to the 8th inning now. MJ Melendez at the plate. He'll pull this ball all the way out to the Pepsi porch for another solo home run. All Royals today. Kansas City beats Tampa 8-4. Royals avoid the sweep. That'll be it with sports. We'll be right back with more news right after this.
A tad cooler tomorrow with scattered thunderstorms. It gets hot on Tuesday and Wednesday with temperatures above 100. Then more storms as we head towards the weekend with temperatures closer to normal and then a slow warm up next week.
It's pretty hot. And what's going on in sports?
One of those guys on the Midwest Mustangs I mentioned, his name's Landon Midget. He went to Columbus High School. He played a football game last night at the Kansas Shrine Bowl and then drove all the way from Hayes, Kansas back to Joplin at 9 a.m. in the morning. He told me he only got like 3 hours of sleep. I mean, man, what a warrior and iron horse of a player, too.
Hey, determination. Well, that's our time for now. Thank you for making us a part of your night.